I'm Austin.klar, your lawyer turned real estate agent in San Francisco, and if I had to decide where my money was safest in San Francisco real estate long-term, my bet is on the neighborhood of Presidio Heights. And in this video, I'm going to break down everything about the Presidio Heights neighborhood and why I think it's the best bet long-term. So let's get right into it. The first reason, it has one of the best locations in all of San Francisco. My boyfriend lived in Presidio Heights before we moved in together in nearby Pacific Heights, and that was really my first exposure to the area where, I spent pretty much half my week almost living there. And until that time, I didn't really understand how special of an area it really was. But the more time I spent there, the more I grew to love it. And now it's one of my favorite areas in all of San Francisco, specifically from a location standpoint. It's on the northern side of the city, neighboring the Presidio, and directly east of it is the neighborhood of Pacific Heights. So it is nearby some incredible amenity spaces, which I'm going to talk about. And it's also nearby some of the best all-around neighborhoods in San Francisco. And because of its location, perched up on the northern end of San Francisco, sort of at the top of the hill, you get incredible views in all directions. To the north, you get views of the Golden Gate Bridge, the San Francisco Bay. Down below, you get views of the city itself. To the east and south, you get views of the city. To the west and to the north, you get views of the Presidio. It is gorgeous. And where it's situated specifically, you're shielded from a lot of the cold and fog fronts that come in from the Pacific Ocean. So from a weather standpoint, it's one of the more temperate, more mild areas in all of San Francisco. It's not quite as warm as like Potrero Hill and Soma and other neighborhoods on the southern end of San Francisco or southeast end of San Francisco. But for an area situated on the northern end of the city, it's one of the best areas from a weather perspective. And that weather is great because one of the best reasons to live in Presidio Heights are all the amenities around you. You're walking distance to some incredibly high-end food like Michelin-starred Sorrel. You're also walking distance to Spruce, which is one of my favorite restaurants in the city that used to have a Michelin star. They lost it about a year or two ago, but the food still tastes the same. It is incredible. They have one of the most beautiful bar spaces in the entire city. Some of my other favorites in the area, as quoted, which is entirely gluten-free, Garibaldi's, Sociale, incredible Italian food. All of these restaurants align Sacramento Street, which is one of the main thoroughfares through the Presidio Heights neighborhood. It's where all the home goods and interior design stores are. There are a lot of interior designers that have their office spaces there. They're all sort of mixed-use spaces with retail on the ground level and, condos or apartments on the upper level. So a very unique part of Presidio Heights, but it's also where all these restaurants are located as well. So walking up and down Sacramento Street, you get an incredible set of shops and restaurants. Some of my favorite interior design stores like March, Fuchsia Perfect, Hudson Grace, Serena and Lily, all of them are on Sacramento Street. You're also walking distance to a great national park, the Presidio, which has a huge amount of walking trails, hiking trails. There are baseball fields, paddle tennis courts, children's playgrounds, and the views from the Presidio are absolutely incredible. You get views of the beautiful houses, some of which you can see behind me right now. And then to the north, you get incredible views of the San Francisco Bay, Marin Headlands, and Golden Gate Bridge. And you're a short drive, about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on where you live in Presidio Heights, to some great streets in San Francisco, main commercial corridors, Chestnut Street in the Marina, Union Street in Cow Hollow, Fillmore Street in Pac Heights, and I already mentioned Sacramento Street in Presidio Heights itself. You're also about a 10 to 15 minute walk to Alta Plaza Park in Pacific Heights, which is like a terraced park with their own, basketball courts, tennis courts, children's playground areas, views in all directions. One of my favorite parks in the city. 10-minute drive to Golden Gate Park, which is the largest park in San Francisco. It's also 20% larger than New York Central Park. It is huge. You could spend days there without actually having done everything that there is to do in Golden Gate Park. And you're about 15 minutes drive from the high-end shopping and food in downtown San Francisco, near Union Square and the Financial District and Soma. So bottom line, you are either a very short walk or a very short drive to almost anything you could possibly want in San Francisco. And it's also very easy to get to the Golden Gate Bridge. So if you want to go north to Marin County or to Napa or Sonoma, very easy to do. So location and amenities are A+ in Presidio Heights, but perhaps one of the most important features, especially in today's environment, is how safe the neighborhood is. It comes with the territory of living among San Francisco's billionaires and actors and athletes. The streets are incredibly well kept and incredibly safe. So all the stuff that you read about in the news and that you hear about in the news, which, it is largely overblown and limited to certain areas of San Francisco, but that's, a different topic altogether. None of that you're going to find in Presidio Heights. Presidio Heights is so far removed from those areas that you're not experiencing any of those problems at all in the area. The streets are incredibly clean, incredibly family friendly. You see people walking with their kids and their pets all the time. Everyone's saying hi to each other. Everyone's very friendly to each other. When my boyfriend lived in Presidio Heights, we knew all the neighbors. We even did a pizza party out on the street one time. Really fun. Everybody is super, super friendly, and it is very safe. Another great thing about the area, and pretty much anywhere you're going to live, you're going to have parking, but street parking is also very readily available. It's not like a lot of other neighborhoods, even parts of Pacific Heights, which are really hard to park in. Definitely like the Marina, for example, really hard to park in. It's not like that in Presidio Heights. There's street parking available almost all the time, and I have parked on the street a number of times, never felt uncomfortable doing so, never had any issues. It is very, very safe and very accessible. Being one of the most desirable neighborhoods in San Francisco, close to some great food and shopping and all these amenities that I'm talking about, shouldn't be any surprise. Presidio Heights is incredibly expensive year in, year out. Usually takes the number one spot for the most expensive place to live in San Francisco. Sometimes it trades places with the neighboring area of Pacific Heights, but for the past several years, Presidio Heights has taken that crown. The median cost per square foot of a single-family home is $1,715, which translates to over $7 million. So by no means is it an affordable place to live. Just to put that in perspective, median price for a single-family home in all of San Francisco over that same time period, about 1.5, 1.6 million, and for condos about 1.1, 1.2 million. So it is incredibly more expensive to live in Presidio Heights than it is in the rest of San Francisco. And aside from all the great benefits of living here that I talked about, another reason why I think it is such a great long-term bet to park money in real estate in Presidio Heights is that there isn't a lot of inventory that comes to market. At any given time over the past several years, there have been between 3 and 7 homes on the market at any given point. So it's not as if there's a flood of houses that come to market in the area. Inventory is very, very limited and by and large, very high end. And if you want more information about the Presidio Heights market and what it's like living there, or if you want information about how it compares to other areas in San Francisco, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I do a ton of videos about all of that. So back to Presidio Heights, what do you get for all that money? You get some of the most gorgeous historic homes in all of San Francisco, if not all of California. And there are so many different types. You've got Tudors, you've got Victorians, you've got Edwardians. You also have a mix of modern homes as well. Contemporary style homes, colonial homes, so many of them done with very high-end designers, very high-end contractors, all done so beautifully. And depending on which block you live and what side of the street you're on, you're going to get incredible views of the Bay, the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, the city below you, the city to the east of you, and to the south of you. The views from these homes are incredible. Plus, the lots themselves tend to be bigger in Presidio Heights. Land is hard to come by in San Francisco, but in Presidio Heights, lots on average between 4,000 to 6,000 square feet. Some of them go all the way up to about 1/4 of an acre, which is massive in San Francisco, where the average lot or standard size lot is about 2,500 square feet. The streets are also relatively walkable, generally flat in the east to west direction. There's a bit of an incline going north to south as you get up toward the top of the hill, but it's not as bad as in other parts of the city. So, that easier walk combined with the incredible architecture, the incredible views and amenities make for a great place to just walk around. So all of that, the temperate weather, the specific location, the views, the architecture, the sparse inventory, all of that combined make it one of the best bets for real estate in San Francisco long term. This area has been and will continue to be one of the most, if not the most desirable places to live in the entire city. And if Presidio Heights made you a little bit curious or you want to learn more about that neighborhood or other areas, make sure to check the link in the description below to my San Francisco relocation guide. It'll tell you everything you need to know about relocating to San Francisco before you move here. I personally think it's one of, if not the best neighborhoods to live in San Francisco, but obviously I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments. And if you're thinking about relocating in the Bay Area and having a little bit of trouble deciding what area is the right area for you or how different areas compare to each other, I'd love to be a resource for you. I've helped so many clients relocate within and outside of San Francisco. Happy to be a resource for you. My contact information is in the description below. I will answer any call, email, or text. I moved to San Francisco from Orange County over a decade ago to work as a lawyer before getting into real estate, so I know exactly how difficult it can be to find the exact right neighborhood. And if you're having any doubts about Presidio Heights or how it compares to other neighborhoods, I made a video ranking in tiers a bunch of different neighborhoods in San Francisco, some very popular ones and some not very popular ones, so you can see how they stack up against each other. I'll link that in the description below. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.